from Vertical Measures, and I'm here hosting VM's monthly webinar series. Today's webinar is titled Link Building Strategies That Move the Needle, and will be presented by our very own Senior Director of SEO Services, Kayla Strong. Kayla oversees both the SEO department and our Internet Marketing Strategist. She works with our expert team to uncover SEO strategies, develop link building campaigns, conduct competitive analysis, review Google penalties, execute backlink analysis, and trains peers on SEO fundamentals. Basically, Kayla does it all here. But before I get started and hand over the presentation, I just have a few things to note. Today's webinar will be available by tomorrow, if not sooner, barring any technical difficulties. We're going to record it for you, and we'll also send out a link to the SlideShare presentation. We'll also be happy to answer any of your questions after Kayla's presentation. So if you take a peek at your webinar interface, you'll actually see a question applet where you can send anything you'd like me to ask her after her presentation is over. Also, you can tweet us using the hashtag VMWebinar, and we'll get to those right after. Any questions we don't get to, we'll be sure to try and answer via email. If you do have any technical problems, please attempt to reconnect, and that usually solves the issue. So with all my notes complete, I will hand it off to our presenter, Kayla Strong.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Today what we're going to be discussing is link building strategies that move the needle. As Quinn said, I'm the Senior Director of SEO Services here at Vertical Measures. I'm going on my 6th year as a VMer. I definitely started out as a link builder and continue to be a link builder, so I kind of put myself in that category of career link builder. Avid blogger, so hopefully some of those who have attended have seen some of my blog posts on Moz or Search Engine Watch, and I'll be referencing a couple of my posts as well within the presentation. So let's get started. I have a lot to cover, and so I will try to do a deep dive into each slide, but just if I am going a little bit too fast, please do feel free to ask questions throughout, and we'll try to address. So much of what we've been doing doesn't work anymore. When we think about the types of link building in the past that we've really focused on, oftentimes if you're working with clients or you're working with your own website, someone starts the conversation of scalability eventually. Well, when we start to scale with link building, we reduce quality. These are the types of links that really just don't work in most instances any longer. Certainly guest blogging is one that's been in the news lately, and we can discuss more on this particular one if individuals have questions. But I lump all of these together because in any instance of using article marketing or forums or comment links or press releases, using social media profiles to get those links, maybe even trying some automated links or link wheels and reciprocal links, anything that uses exact match anchor text or black hat tactics, these are all ways to sure get links, but the quality is really, really low. And this is where you stand a chance to potentially be penalized by obtaining these types of links. So what should you do? Two individuals that I would definitely suggest you follow, Eric Ward and Eric Enge. Both of these individuals are career link builders as well. They present all across the U.S. and have amazing theories on link building. But the first is build links you'd want even if Google didn't exist. So don't think about link building as an effort to that's isolated to just link building. A link can drive traffic, it can drive conversions. There are other reasons why you would want to build links. You shouldn't be building links just to build links. And then lastly, if you have to argue about whether the link is good or bad, the link is bad. These are two individuals that I think if you do learn anything from this presentation or take away anything from this presentation, these are individuals that when they speak about link building, definitely listen and understand the holistic nature that these two gentlemen really focus on. And that's what we'll be talking about today, is building the links you'd want even if Google didn't exist, and then not finding links that you don't have to argue about because you just know that they're really good. And in the end, they will move the needle. So if you don't have time or money, or you don't have content or leverageable assets on your site, if you don't have a great product or engage with your customers, then link building that moves the needle just frankly isn't right for you. It does take all of these things. It does take time and money and content. It does take having a good product. It does take engagement with customers. We have to slow down and we have to start thinking like marketers. It's no longer just an isolated, service of link building or an isolated campaign of link building. It should be a holistic solution for your marketing. So what needle do you want to move? There are quite a few different needles that you can move with link building. Traffic might be one, conversions might be one, branding is another. It's not just about rankings anymore. And you get a little frustrated with some SEOs who say the only thing that they really measure is rankings, keyword rankings. Where is this keyword on page 1, 2, 3? It's not just about rankings anymore. Link building can provide traffic, can provide conversions, can help with branding. And I'll show some examples of that in my presentation as well. Here at Vertical Measures, our link builders are really, really skilled. And I'm not just saying that because I work here and they're on my team and I train them, but they have the innate ability to really find links that are going to move the needle and that aren't going to penalize. And so our main tactics are using brand mention. So we're trying to find instances where your brand is mentioned, but it's not actually linked to your website. Second would be resource pages. So pages that are a list of resources, useful information for web visitors. And your website provides those resources to help answer questions or provide information. Third is associations. I really think there's probably association for any niche or industry on the web, and surprisingly many of them have membership pages, have areas where you can actually get a link. So we'll talk about that as a tactic. And then lastly, using broken links. So some lower hanging fruit types of opportunities where we're going to examine trying to get some really good links that help move the needle. And you actually already have those links. It's just directing them to the right pages. So these are each of these 4 strategies are strategies that we use to help increase conversions and traffic and rankings as well. We're focusing on, we definitely are focusing on rankings, but traffic and conversions are that added extra benefit that allows us to really go after some of these really great links and find good opportunities. So let's start with the first one is brand mentions. This is a link that that Andre Willis was able to get. He's one of our link builders on our team. This was a brand mention without a link. So Arnie Ken, the owner of our company, he went to speak at the Dallas Digital Summit. And someone from Sabre was there, and they actually wrote about it. And they mentioned Vertical Measures, but they didn't quite link to our website. Very easy way to reach out to a website and say, hey, you're already talking about me. Why don't you actually mention my website? Your web visitors might want to know more about me. So in that instance, we used that type of a pitch. And in a couple of days, it only took about 3 days, Andre was able to get this link. So, I think a lot of individuals who are on the call probably have in their marketing arsenal some traditional PR. You're doing some sort of branding awareness. You're sending out press releases. You're getting these mentions on large news organizations. And so when you feel it's appropriate and when, say you're reaching out to a particular journalist and you see in their other articles they're linking out to companies, but they don't actually link out to your company when you're reaching out to them. Make a little mention and say, hey, would you mind adding a reference of our website? I think some traditional PR folks are a little afraid to do that, but this is an instance where you can get a really authoritative editorial-based link that will help with traffic. It can help with conversions, but really, a page like this on Sabre's website, an exact article about social media, which is a service that we offer, about internet marketing, which is a service that we offer, and a link to our website. It's helping to associate our website with internet marketing with social media. So it's very much logical to see that this type of a link would help increase some of those keyword phrases and our brand and search engines understanding that that's what our site is about. So here this website is very authoritative. DA is domain authority. It's a metric of 0 to 100. This website has a 55 metric, and this is pulled through Open Site Explorer. And then it has PR, which is page rank, of 6. So that's a scale of 0 to 10. So as you can see, a really good link on the web, definitely higher than average type of authority here. Another opportunity are lists and resource pages. This is one that Blair Crawford was able to find. It's a resource page that lists university programs. We deal with a few higher education programs, and they have graduate degrees. And in looking for opportunities, we found this particular website. It's a .org nonprofit type of association. It's a domain authority of 72, page rank of 5. And these types of pages and websites, especially very specific to a niche, something that's related to the keyword phrases that our clients want to rank for, is a listing on a page like this with individual page authority on the page is going to help spread some authority over to our client's website, and we might also see some increases to some of their keyword phrases that are niche and related to a site like this. So we most certainly see that it can move the needle a bit with finding opportunities like this. What I recommend is using advanced search commands to find resource pages. Think about the types of resources that your prospective customers are looking for on the web and where they might go to find that information. And you can start using advanced search commands to find those pages. So here are some advanced search commands that we will try and often use. In URL, links. That's a really great one to find any web pages on the web that are links pages. So meaning they're a resource page, they link out to a lot of different websites. These aren't necessarily spammy links pages. You'd be surprised when you do this parameter and add some of your own niche keyword phrases to it, you're going to find some good links pages. Site parameters, site:org or site:gov or site:edu. That particular parameter is going to isolate your query to just edu websites or just gov websites. I highly recommend kind of identifying what type of website that you're going to want to get a link on and then using this type of parameter to find those websites. All in title and the word resource. So this is going to find a web page with a meta title which says the word resource in it. Now if we add additional keyword phrases to this query, we're going to narrow down our results and potentially find those resource pages or those list pages. Using quotes around words like the word association is going to help us find some of those association pages, or that's where you're going to want to put some of your niche keyword phrases in there to add to some of these other parameters that you see. Additionally, the word or, so you're looking for the word society or association. Not all nonprofit associations are called associations. They might be called societies, and they still might have those juicy resource pages you're looking for. And then lastly, you can do minus, and you can do minus a website or minus a word if you're starting to find that your search results pages are kind of mucked up with information that you're not really looking for. And something else to consider is that sites like Twitter allow advanced search commands. Try to find some opportunities on social media sites. You have that in your marketing arsenal already. Try and see if you can utilize it for other instances like this to build some really great links and start building relationships. And then test it out yourself. So here's a query, site:gov, and then put in a general industry phrase. Maybe do the same with site:edu or site:org. This is going to help you find out why authoritative websites link out to websites like yours. So why does a government website actually link out to your website? Why does a edu link out to maybe a competitor like in your industry? So I'll give another example of this. So I did this search, site:gov, and just the word party supplies. So who knows, maybe we have somebody on the line who does sell party supplies. Well, I found that these state government websites and state and local government websites actually have rental equipment and party supply lists. And you can actually get added to some of these lists. And these are do-follow links on very authoritative websites. And then the last one is site:edu. I'm trying to find why edu websites, university websites, actually link out to cable TV providers. Well, sure enough, it's on their residence life and housing pages. Individuals that are in the dorms or some are on campus might want cable TV for providers, and they link out to those. So this is what you want to do in your industry and really try to identify why those authoritative websites are linking out to sites like yours. And then you'll be able to go from there and start reaching out to some of the websites that have resource pages or pages that make sense for your site to be linked to. All right, so links for conversions. And this is an association, another association. It's the American Society of Criminology. And Zach Jones at our company actually found this particular one. It's a domain authority of 59 and page rank of 7, so very authoritative site. And, you know, one of the schools that we utilize, that or one of our clients, actually gets conversions from this page. So it's a few requests for more information on their website about their degree program in criminology every couple of months. But that's just one link that maybe we spent a couple of hours trying to find and reaching out to and receiving, but it's providing continual conversions for this particular client. There are associations in your industry. There definitely are. I really have never found a particular industry where an association doesn't make sense for that industry. And think about finding pages like this. So this is a list of graduate programs and training, but many of the associations within your industry have pages kind of like this that provide resources for their members. If you have resources for people who are interested in your industry, which you should, because content marketing is a huge, huge part of SEO and inbound marketing, you should have that content on your site that answers questions, that provides resources, that provides information, and then use that and leverage it to find leverage with associations and finding those resource pages, list pages, and get on a site like this. After this link was placed, we saw some lift within the criminal justice degree keyword programs that we have, that we've been tracking. But moreover, this drove conversions, which is really, at the end of the day, what is helping the bottom line. So this particular link has only gotten more authoritative since it was placed. This is actually a page rank on the page of 7. So it's a really, really authoritative page. All right, so onto another tactic is broken links. This is a link that I found when we were doing some research for one of our clients that has some information about forensic science. And I ran across the page, and they were actually already linking out to my client, but they were linking to a 404 page. And I discovered that by going into Open Site Explorer, and I did a poll in the top pages section, and you can see all the 404 pages. If you do that and you see that on your own website you have some pages that aren't there anymore and you have links pointing to those pages, you should probably go out and reach out to that person and say, hey, link over to this page instead. This is the right page now. What you can also do is set up a 301 redirect on that page and try to redirect users to the correct page. But ideally, go out and reach out to the webmaster and get that direct link changed. So what I did was I went to this particular professor. It's a domain authority of 75 and a page rank of 7. And this website had a ton of resources listed, but several broken links. My client's link wasn't the only one. I used a tool, which I'll talk about on the next slide, called Broken Link Checker. And Broken Link Checker will go through a website, and it's going to find all of the links on the page, and it's going to identify if that link is going through or if it actually doesn't direct to the right page. And I use this tactic because I wanted to reach out to that professor and let them know about our broken page. But I also wanted them to actually open up my email, and I wanted to get that change request done. So I thought I would give a little value add to this professor. And I used the link checker, like this one, the check my links. There's a few other ones that you can use. But I used it on the page to see if there are other broken links. And then when I reached out to her, I let her know that. Do you realize that there are actually 27 broken links on this page? My link is one of them, but I would suggest cleaning this up. I don't know if you realize that that page doesn't have all correct information. And within a week, she responded to my email and had it updated. So I can't necessarily say that it was because of my added value in that email using the link checker, but what I can say is that it's a possibility, and I definitely recommend it if you are coming across pages like this and using this as a tactic. It can help actually get your email read, and you're helping and you're giving value to that webmaster. All right, here's another one that our team was able to get, and this is Andy Franco. He was able to get a scholarship listed on USU, it's Utah State University's website. Now this is a domain authority of 83 and a page rank of 5. On this actual page, it's a page rank of 5. So a lot of authority there. And this site actually drives some traffic. Now our client is a bank, and they have a really good scholarship for students. And So what Andy has been doing is reaching out to any EDUs that actually have scholarship listings, and especially scholarship listings for financial students, so finance students. And he's been able to get really good niche types of links from finance pages to link over to our bank client. Now, you can definitely imagine that that traffic is very worthwhile, especially since he's focusing his efforts within the geo area where that bank is located, and hitting up universities in states and cities where they actually have a bank there. But in addition, we got a very juicy authoritative link and increased value for the website, for our client's website, increased authority for that website. So seeing ranking improvements and then also seeing that traffic is pretty amazing. These types of links do indeed move that needle. When we're thinking about measurement, and we're thinking about this whole process of moving the needle, you have to measure. You most certainly have to measure. And what we use here is certainly using Google Analytics. Hopefully most of you on the line have some sort of analytics program that you can pull this data. And if you're not familiar with Google Analytics, if you go into the acquisition section, I've kind of highlighted it on the left-hand side of the screen. And if you go to the all referrals section, what you can do is you can start to measure referral traffic. And you can enter in any of the links that you've built. So you would enter in the domain of where that link was built. And then you're able to see any traffic that was referred. But you can also look at conversion data too. And you can do that if you either have an e-commerce platform and you have it set up through Google Analytics to share that information, or set up specific goals within your Google Analytics account. I highly, highly recommend that, because it's super important when you're reporting to clients, and if they understand the value of links, that you provide all this other supplemental information too. Don't just provide ranking data. Look at what that referral traffic is. Look and see if any of your links have provided some conversions. For the universities that we're talking about, one student's tuition is, what, $15,000 to $25,000 a year. That alone, that one link and one student can provide enough money to show ROI for your entire marketing budget, potentially for the entire year. So look at that conversion data. It's definitely going to help you. Make sure that multiple date ranges are chosen. Here in this graph, you can see I chose January 1st to April 8th, and you can notate like a really big spike in traffic during that end of March period. If I had not chosen the correct date period, I might not see that. And any links that you're placing could have referral traffic and referral conversions for years. So it's not just about checking month-over-month information, but keeping track of the most authoritative links you've built, the ones that do, you think that will drive traffic or conversions, and continuing to look at them I would recommend on a quarterly basis, and look for patterns. If you're seeing that any time that you get listed on an association, it always drives a ton of traffic and conversions, then see what types of tactics you can do to get more links from associations, more partnerships, more memberships. What additionally can you do? So start looking for patterns in the links that actually do drive that traffic and conversions and engagement on your website in general. Some of the tools that I use, one is Fresh Web Explorer. And with this tool, it's actually from Moz, and if you go to freshwebexplorer.moz.com, you can research and compare mentions and links that their tool finds. And so you can analyze whether it's your brand or competitors or other key terms that might interest you. And what's nice is you can actually use advanced search operators in this tool. So what I'll do, similar to what maybe Arnie would have done to find that Sabre link, the unlinked brand mention that I mentioned earlier. With that particular link, you could add into here keywords like the word vertical measures and find any mentions of our brand on the web. But there's a couple things to consider here. The word vertical measure is actually a construction term as well, or if you can imagine, you vertically measure things with a tape measure. So I don't want to find those mentions. So what I'll often do is I'll do restrictive terms. So maybe I'll do the word vertical measures in quotes, and then I'll do minus construction or minus carpentry. And what that's going to do is it's going to take out any instances of those types of websites in my results. So think about your brand name and then also the associated terms to that. I will put up a link at the end, but it was earlier in one of my slides that I have a blog post on Moz, and it's about unlinked brand mentions, and it's a complete guide. So if you are interested in conducting some unlinked brand mention types of strategies, I highly recommend reviewing that article on Moz because it has a lot more tips and tricks and different advanced search commands you can use and practical information. Some of the other tools, obviously the regular old Google search. I did provide that information about advanced search commands. I think if there's anything that you come away with from this session or from this webinar is that you need to get good at Google search commands and become a master at Google search. I think that's the one really huge thing that is valuable about the team members that we have here at Vertical Measures. We spend so much time just analyzing advanced search commands and coming up with different ideas and sharing advanced search commands with each other, and it really does help to find those opportunities. And that's the way that you're going to start to see that needle move with the links that you are placing is when you place them on sites that are going to drive some referral traffic, are going to potentially turn into conversions, and it's not just about rankings. The other tool that we use is Link Clump. So Link Clump is a Chrome add-on that you can have. And basically, say you're searching on a search results page, and you want to open up 6 or 7 of the results in the search results page in tabs. But you don't want to waste your time and click on all of them and open them in new tabs. Link Clump allows you to just select those, and it will automatically open in new tabs. With link building and being able to move the needle, improve ROI, you have to be efficient. A lot of these tactics can take hours. It can take a long time to find these sites. Even though you're using those advanced search commands, it is very, very important for you to find ways to cut down time in any way that you can, and Link Clump is one of those ways. Another one is Google Alerts. I talked a little bit earlier about how Moz allows you to set up alerts with the brand mentions. Google Alerts is also one that you can use. So things that I've done in the past are if I'm using my regular old Google search commands and some advanced search command just knocks it out of the park and I'm finding tons of results, I'm going to add that into Google Alerts, and I'm going to get emails every time that a new page like that comes up if it's cached or indexed. So set up Google Alerts if you are finding that some advanced search commands are really working for you. We use Authority Labs here as a ranking tool. I definitely recommend it as a tool. There's a lot of really great information within Authority Labs, and they have the ability to look at rankings at a very, very granular level. So you can give them a specific zip code and say, I just want, for this particular keyword phrase, you to show me my rankings in that zip code, and it will show it. So Authority Labs has a lot of really, if you are a big data person, you can set up tags and things like that with your keywords, create custom reports, stuff like that. So I highly recommend Authority Labs, and they're not paying me to do this endorsement, but I just always like to suggest that to individuals who are looking for rankings and measurement. Raven Tools is the other tool that we use here. I really like it because you're able to put monitoring on links. It's not something we use really heavily, but for those on the line, I think it would be advantageous. So basically, it's going to track all the links that you've built, and you can put a tracker on, you can have it monitor those links, and if the link changes in any way, it's going to notify you. So it's a good tool to, once you build these really amazing links, to make sure that those links don't come down. Haro is one probably most of you have heard, but it's Help a Reporter Out. It's a system and database where you put in your information and who you are, your niche and industry, and then any press individuals, journalists, things like that, who are looking for quotes or experts, they might find your information and reach out, and often it results in a link. Another one is Link Prospector. This is through Citation Labs. Link Prospector is one that is a paid tool. They do have a free trial, and I would encourage each of you to look at it, but Link Prospector is one of those ways to set up a lot of advanced searches and find links on deep pages and and uncover really good opportunities in more of an automated way. Not the actual acquisition of the links in an automated way, but the finding of the websites in an automated way. So helps speed up time a little bit. And then lastly is NetPeak Checker. So NetPeak Checker is one, in general, if you are pulling a lot of backlinks or looking at a lot of data and you want to do a poll of domain authority or page rank or some other metric, NetPeak Checker will allow you to import a list, and then it will go through and check all of those metrics for you, and it's a free tool. So gotta love that when it's free and it actually provides you a lot of really useful information. So, in summary, link building, I don't think is necessarily harder, but it does require us to work a lot smarter. We have to be efficient with our time. We have to think like marketers. We have to look at what's in our marketing arsenal. We have to look at all the different measurements and make sure that we indeed are moving that needle. And if we aren't, then we need to reevaluate what we're doing. But each of these particular tactics, whether it's the unlinked brand mentions or looking for association pages or maybe providing some sort of a scholarship or creating really good leverageable content that can get added to resource pages. Those are all types of tactics that are really penguin-proof types of links. These are links that are going to provide useful information for the web visitor. And at the end of the day, isn't that really what Google is looking to do? They're looking to help individuals find information on the web. So if you start thinking about yourself as not necessarily as a link builder, but as an individual who connects websites with content or connects individuals with information, and it's good information, it's quality, it's valuable, really you don't have much to worry about at that point. But you have to think more holistically about what types of links you're building and looking for those really authoritative types of websites. All right, so hopefully I sped through that a little bit quicker than I thought, but we should have some time for a decent amount of questions.
Yeah, so we have one from Roxanne. She asks, when you reach out to a website regarding a link, is it critical to do so from an email address that contains the domain name of the site you are representing? This is actually something we've been talking about at Vertical Measures. So.
Yeah, it is, yes. And I definitely am a firm component or firm believer that it does help. It most certainly increases that, even just the open rate. But if you don't have the ability to do that, it's not impossible. I think we have the luxury of working with some pretty authoritative universities, and so just the name alone sometimes is enough of credibility. But be prepared to, to have a response when an individual asks you who you are. If you are reaching out from a company email like we would with Vertical Measures, or you're reaching out from a Gmail address, think about what you're going to say if they do ask what your affiliation is with the website. Something that we've also done in the past is we found a client email address and we just asked, can we CC you on our outreach? And that actually improved open rates. It improved open rates not only with the link acquisition, but also with this nasty link pruning that people have to do now. If you CC someone at the company, oftentimes it does increase the rates. So that's one suggestion. And then the third is, you might consider just in your pitch to the webmaster, not saying you represent the client, but instead just being a casual web visitor who came across a page that needed to be updated and providing additional information. Some sort of a pitch like that might avoid the whole situation as a whole. So there's a couple different options there, but I think you can still be successful without it, but I agree that with it you are definitely more successful. I think you're on mute.
We have a question from Twitter. Sorry, I was talking into a muted phone, but I'm back. So we have a question from Twitter. They asked, should you link keywords to parts of your website in your website blog? Is that considered a bad technique now?
Gotcha. So internal links are still very valuable. If you think, again, at the end of the day, Google just wants to provide really good information to users. Website usability is very important, and internal links provide that kind of navigation to lead users to more applicable pages. And so I think internal links are still okay. I think you have to be very careful. Exact match anchor text is something to really reconsider. Use more generalized terms. Don't overdo it. It definitely needs to be useful still, but I wouldn't, recommend not doing it at all. That would seem kind of odd, not to have any internal links within your website. You're going to want to help your users, throughout the site. So if you are concerned about it, maybe do some tests and put some links within posts and see how many individuals are actually clicking on those links. You can measure that in Google Analytics. And if a link isn't getting clicked very often, then might as well take it down. I mean, it's not providing very much use, and most certainly you don't want to over-optimize your anchor text and get issues there with Penguin and things.
So another question from Ryan. He asks, do you guys at Vertical Measures use tools like BuzzFeed to organize your outreach?
In the past, we've checked out some of those, but to be honest, we're firm believers in Google Docs and Excel and organizing ourselves that way. And we do have kind of a proprietary tool that an individual internally built, which was awesome, and it helps us calendar out our work, and then it has a really good tracking kind of system in it, which is very simplified, but it is helpful for our month-end reporting and things. So. Yeah, there's lots of tools out there, though.
Yeah. A question from Noelle. Any recommendations for earning links with specific keyword anchor text?
Ooh. I guess I don't think that you can do it and still be safe, to be honest. I think Google can't tell the intention of that link. And even if it was natural, and even if you didn't pay for it, and even if you didn't ask for it, and it just was an earned link, if it has exact anchor text or keyword-rich anchor text, that intention there is kind of vague. And I don't know what Google's going to say in a few months, with that particular link, if maybe that one's going to be bad or it's going to be good. So what I would highly recommend is following the theory of co-citation. So co-citation is the understanding that when you get a link placed on one website, you are associated with the other outbound links from that website. And so if you start to look at your link building and finding websites that are about the same semantic keyword phrases that you're trying to rank for, and it's on a page that's about that particular keyword phrase, and it's on a site that gets links about that keyword phrase, and all these signals are all around these keyword phrases, Google's smart enough to give you credit, so you don't have to use that anchor text, I think just in general that anchor text is too risky, so I would highly recommend looking up co-citation, trying to find those websites that are going to drive those types of semantic signals, so that you don't have to use advanced search command, or so you don't have to use the anchor text-rich kind of keyword phrases in your anchors.
Another question from Twitter from Devin. He asked, would you be willing to share with us a few KPIs that you use at Vertical Measures? Which ones, in your opinion, are most important?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Very good.
Yeah, it all comes down to what the goals are, obviously, for a particular client. So if one of our clients comes to us and says, I just want to rank really high for, these particular keyword phrases, of course, that's going to be one key metric to look at are specific keyword phrases and, landing pages and the rankings of those and seeing lift to your organic overall. So that's one KPI, but I would expand it from there and look more at, what is the referral traffic from those links? What is the referral traffic from organic search? What are the conversions from those referral links? And what's maybe time on page and the % of new visitors? So often, if we are getting and placing links, we're not wanting, the same old customers necessarily. Maybe that's the client's model, but in general, it usually isn't. So looking at that % of new visitors can help too. So you're trying to tell the story to the client that what we've done works. And so those key performance indicators like the % of new visitors, the amount of organic traffic referrals, the actual conversions, those are all things that are important. And then that time on site kind of comes into play if we're thinking about the relevancy of those links. If time on site or bounce rate is really, really high, so time on site is low, bounce rate is high, then those links might not be as relevant for your visitor. So that's another thing to consider.
And we had Ryan had asked about BuzzFeed, and he corrected himself. He said, whoops, I was reading BuzzFeed, but I really meant BuzzStream. But I think you got that.
Yeah.
So just to clarify.
Yep.
A question from Alex. Given the algorithm updates by Google, how can I use legitimate press releases to drive link traffic?
Let's see here. So with press releases, I don't think, so the purpose of a press release isn't for link building. So definitely get that out of the way. But what you can do is use press releases to get in front of individuals who will give you links. So, for instance, you would use a press release to maybe, promote a new free guide or some new infographic or some new case study you have on your site or some piece of content that you want to promote or some sort of a new program. And then you would target that press release to individual editors, to individual websites that might find interest in it, not just to actually syndicate that press release, but maybe one of their reporters wants to write about it, or maybe they want to embed your infographic. There's a lot of ways that you can use press releases, but I definitely don't think the focus should be getting links from the press release itself, but getting in front of people who will then be influenced by the press release to link to your site.
Great, and we have time for one more question. This is from Giselle. Google just released that they are not providing search query information anymore to outside partners. Which of the tools you mentioned will really play an important role to compensate for this?
That's a good question. Most of the tools that I talked about don't actually go into this. Let me see here. I did talk about, not a ton. I know, so one of the ways to sort of get around it a little bit is I utilize SEMrush a lot. SEMrush will, when you put in a website, it's going to pull the top 20 results for that website and where they rank, and then they have some search data there. But it's a third party, of course, and so it's not going to be completely valid. Webmaster Tools, to be honest, looking at impressions in Webmaster Tools and connecting Webmaster Tools with Google Analytics is one of those ways to kind of back into the data a little bit. But really, you're kind of limited as far as the tool sets that are out there in order to be able to really track it super granularly. But we get away with it, at least with just examining SEMrush and then Webmaster Tools.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the time we have for questions. There are still a few more, so we'll try to reach out via email and get those answered for you all. But thank you for joining us all from the Vertical Measures team. Please mark your calendar for our next webinar. It's coming up on May 8th. We'll have a guest presenter. His name is Paul Gustafson, and he's from the TDA Group, and they are touting themselves as the premier Silicon Valley content marketing company, so this should be really interesting. His topic is 5 crucial content steps in the buyer's journey that matter. So the registration is open for that. You can go to verticalmeasures.com/webinars, and we will see you next month on May 8th. Thank you, Kayla, as well, for all the information.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.